Earlier this year, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 6 released on Netflix. Anybody who knows anime knows about JoJo, and even people that haven't watched it have at least seen the memes. The streaming rights for JoJo's Part 6 were bought out by Netflix, and in this episode of Jump Report, I'm gonna cover how Netflix ruined Stone Ocean. Before I get into the Netflix issue, I want to refresh you guys on JoJo's Part 5 and the absolutely massive impact it had on anime. So for a quick background, I had casually watched some anime here and there until eventually Noah introduced me to JoJo's back in 2018. I, like most people, didn't really like Part 1 and I had a hard time getting into the show. But with a lot of peer pressure from Noah, I stuck with it and eventually fell in love with the series. Over the course of a few months, I became obsessed with it and eventually succumbed to the fatal disease known as JoJo's brain rot. It was all I could think about, and luckily for me, Part 5 Golden Wind was airing right as I was catching up to the series. Every Friday, I would watch the weekly release, and for the rest of the week after, all I would talk about was that week's episode. Part 5 had massive success and got so many new people into JoJo's. And with so many memeable moments, nobody could escape the sphere of the show's influence, and JoJo's rose to peak popularity. I went on to binge read the manga for Part 6 and 7, and I couldn't wait for Part 6 to finally air. A few years back, Netflix decided to go all in on anime, and began fighting for exclusive rights to some shows, as well as producing some of their own. Netflix began gobbling up every popular show they could get their grubby hands on, and they've managed to get a nice collection of quality shows. These include Carol and Tuesday, Violet Evergarden, Beastars, Baki, Devilman Crybaby, Komi-san, and the more recent Cyberpunk Edgerunners. These shows successfully achieved mainstream popularity, even though they were locked in Netflix jail. But it's important to look at some of the shows Netflix has ruined as well. Two shows I was personally excited about were The Record of Ragnarok and The Way of the House Husband. Both shows were super popular in manga form, but the resulting anime that came out from them can only be considered a joke. Both shows suffered from what I would call slideshow animation. They basically just colored in manga panels and voice acted over them. JoJo's Part 6, on the other hand, escaped that fate, and David Productions managed to create an amazing product. So, if Netflix didn't interfere with the making of JoJo's, then how did they ruin the show? I'll be upfront. Netflix didn't directly ruin JoJo's. In fact, Part 6 is just as good as JoJo's has ever been. The issue with Part 6 is that nobody is talking about it. JoJo's went from one of the most popular series around to being almost completely forgotten by damn near everybody. Outside of the reveal trailer for Part 6, I saw nothing about JoJo's on the internet, and even when it finally released, I didn't realize it until almost a week later. I, being the dedicated JoJo fan that I am, immediately binged the first batch of episodes, and then proceeded to forget I even watched it. What I realized after the release of Stone Ocean is that the community was all over the place. Lots of people don't have Netflix, and the less computer savvy of us can't pirate the show because they don't know how to install a simple ad blocker. What this led to was people watching JoJo's on their own time, and that is the true downfall of Stone Ocean. The weekly releases are what made JoJo so popular. The excitement I had while waiting for JoJo's Friday made each and every episode special. It perfectly controlled the pacing and allowed each episode its own time to shine. This in turn allowed the community to solely focus on that specific episode, and it's why Part 5 was so memorable to me. By disregarding the episodic format of JoJo's past, Part 6 was doomed from the start. Just because Part 6 isn't in the limelight right now doesn't mean it's not worth the watch. Part 6 is the most ambitious installment of JoJo's yet, and it even features the series' first female main character in Jolene. Does that mean JoJo fans are sexist? Possibly, but that doesn't change the fact that locking JoJo's in Netflix jail has completely ruined the release format that made Part 5 so universally acclaimed. Part 6 has some of the most bizarre moments in JoJo's, which is saying a lot for the series that produced a gay vampire and Japanese Patrick Bateman as the two best villains in anime. At the end of the day, the magic that makes Parts 1 through 5 so good is still alive in Part 6. It's just that you have to work a little harder to enjoy it to the same degree. As our viewers can probably tell by now, Noah and I have some bones to pick with how Netflix has been handling anime. The failure of Stone Ocean is just the latest in the Netflix saga. If you're a JoJo fan watching right now, you need to go and give Stone Ocean a chance. You didn't hear this from me, but you don't have to be a Netflix subscriber to watch Stone Ocean if you're just a little bit creative. Netflix might have killed the hype, but that doesn't mean JoJo isn't the bizarre and slightly homoerotic mess that we all know and love. Thank you guys for watching this episode of Jump Report. Make sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe for more Jump Report content. As always, give our TikTok page a follow so that you can see previews of upcoming projects, and I'll see you guys in the next video.